Yeah, I just poured me some water. I forgot to go pick it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah. So
I thought about what you said, and you said that way I won't get gamed. I'm like, yeah, you're right about that.
Right.
So I think that's how I got gamed before with a couple of Moors, because I was being emotional and wanting to help out.
Right.
So he got me for a few notes, but that's okay.
Yeah. You know, I mean, good thing it wasn't gold and silver, you know, so it's all right.
Yeah. So, okay, I'll leave here.
All right.
You need a chair or something. It's upstairs. All right, you got to grab those books off the bed. All right, we running in and throwing luggage down.
Yeah.
We were like, all right, because I'm like, all right, he can't find me, so I got to call him. He's throwing luggage around, and I got my hands full. I couldn't type back. I'm like, oh.
Yeah. It's all good. We did it.
Yeah. We know you pressed for time, so I'm like, man, we want to at least do a little bit here.
No. We should be all right. We should be able to get at least a little hour in, you know.
Okay.
We should be all right. Yeah.
All right. So Amir says, hey, that's the guy from YouTube. Amir, come here. Brother Kuja, come over here. Don't hide. That's Amir. This is our youngest.
Peace, brother Amir.
Peace.
How you doing, bro?
Good, and you?
I'm doing well.
Good. They sitting next to the bed. There's three or four small books. Amir, give me that book off of the stove. Those two books there. Yeah, and that binder. All right, we just about over here.
All right.
Thank you, sir. You can sit right here. All right, here's our day. It's
love, brother. Peace. How you doing, fam? Everything's peaceful?
Oh yeah, man. Everything is. I got no complaints, man. It can be all bad.
For real. I hear that. Yeah, yo. So where we at right now?
Oh.
Well, what we were discussing earlier, kind of leads into what my question was. Just as far as organization-wise, I guess.
Right.
Administration, because after the time when the prophet, I'm going to say, was assassinated, of course.
Yep.
You had a lot of people who were saying that they were his successors.
Right.
And you got a lot of different temples. And you have all these grand sheiks, sheikesses, national grand sheik, all of these different titles. I guess my question is, as far as us as a whole, this organization, is there some sort of leadership? Is there an actual, leadership in place where, say, for instance, someone that you speak to and that person speak to, or we just all in this together? And I'm trying to...
Doing different things. We're all together doing different things.
As far as chain of command.
All right. Okay. The actual chain of command is Prophet on the top, Allah on the top, right? Allah on the top, then the Prophet, and then the grand body, right? And then from the grand body, national grand sheik, national governor, national, etc., going down the list, and then the Moorish Americans, right? So the real authority under the Prophet is supposed to be the grand body, right? Now,
Okay, and grand body is?
The grand body is supposed to be the elected heads that the nation selected to represent the Moors, right?
That's
supposed to
a
be,
question I guess I'm asking too.
Right.
Who is that chick?
now that's supposed to be Grand Major Temple in Chicago,
Okay.
right? Under the successorship of Emily Ill,
Mm-hmm.
right? Now, there's all these different factions of Moors that claimed to be the successor after the Prophet passed,
Mm-hmm.
which is why we have the scatter mentality that we have today. Because a lot of people, and this is not just amongst the Moors, like there were people that were Moors that took a position of claiming to be Allah and stuff like that under the authority of the Prophet,
Mm-hmm.
right? And started their own thing that has nothing to do with the Moor Science Temple or calling yourself Moors, and they stuck to the black agenda. And then some of them branched off and they said that they're Hebrew. And some of them branched off and they said that they're, Negroes and whatever. All, right? All stemming from the fact that they were members of the temple, and when Noble Drew Ali passed, majority of these people who were the heads of organizations from the 1920s to the 1930s, they were members and adepts of the Moor Science Temple.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So when we
That's what I was
say,
discussing with Ali.
yeah, so when we say the grand body also includes people like Elijah Poole Bey, right?
Yeah.
Who said, forget Moors, we're gonna call people Black Asiatics and we're gonna go the Temple of Islam route,
Mm-hmm.
right? People like actually let me get my little, because I'm actually working on a little book about this right now. So like Sweet Daddy Grace, right? Father Divine, CM Bay, Marcus Garvey, W.E. Du Bois, Deuce Muhammad Ali, John Edward Bruce. So there's all these people, right, who were trained by Noble Drew Ali.
Mm-hmm.
And their job was to do the same thing like what the disciples were supposed to do when Yahshua passed.
Mm-hmm.
Continue on the gospel.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But they didn't want to do that. Everybody, exact same thing, just like the disciples. Everybody said, well, I saw him walk on water, so, that's what another guy said, well, I saw him pet a lion, so that's what, and there became this scattered perspective, right? When the principle was simple. Go out there and redeem the people, teach them that they're not Negro, black, colored, or Ethiopian, and that they're Moors, and then that's it.
Mm-hmm.
And just go out there and do that. And then once we do that, right, and we get everybody to recognize that they're not Negro, black, colored, then we can move into other avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Okay. Now, at one time, I believe I read, so I can't remember where I read it at, but at one time, the Nation of Islam, they were doing nationality cards, correct?
Right. Yeah. At one time they were doing that, but, they're not doing that anymore. They still call themselves Nation Islam.
Right.
But to me, it started out there because that's coming from Noble Drew Ali. Like, you already know, like you say, the basics. Like when we started studying and we saw, that we're not black, Negro, any of these things, the first thing he did was say that you're black Muslim. Black this, black that, everything's black.
Right.
But he knew that,
Right.
So, I guess for me, I is that in particular. But it seems real foul and just, you know, I mean, it's crazy because it's totally the base, like you said, what, you know, the disciples were supposed to know what follow them God was supposed to do. You know?
Right.
And so, black, Negro, color, any of these things were born,
Right.
and we wanted that position.
Right. And you know, it's not a, I mean, I just look at it like, you know, everybody has a price. Right? So because everybody has a price, that's why, you know, certain things went how they went. You know,
Yeah.
because they didn't have to start a new organization or nothing like that.
Right.
You know what I mean? They didn't have to do that. They could have still said Moor Science Temple of America, right? And today in 2013, you know, Farrakhan would be the head of Moor Science Temple of America. One branch, right? And, you know, Malik Zulu Shabazz will be, you know, head of the Moor Science Temple of America for the Black Panthers.
Right.
Right? And, you know, whoever else is the head of something, it'll be whatever they wanted it to be, but the foundation of it would be Moor Science Temple of America. All of them will have nationality cards. You know what I mean? The Nation of Gods and Earths will have nationality cards. The, you know, NAACP, they have nationality cards. Everybody have nationality cards. And we'll be able to have, like what we were talking about earlier, we'll be able to have that unity that we're saying we don't have.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But
Yep.
everybody wants to be the top dog.
Yeah.
When the only top dog is Noble Drew Ali, because he's the only one that brought anything worth us even considering. Because everything else, just like you're saying, everything else is attached to black.
Right.
And that's not going to do anything for us. So it's not even worth consideration.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because just for the simple fact that black's attached to it. You know, like Noble Drew Ali called us Asiatics, but he never attached black to it. But we were called Asiatics. But why is it that, you know, other people who call us Asiatics have to attach black to it? You know? Either they're in complete ignorance of what Noble Drew Ali brought and the perspective of black, or they're paid agents.
Yeah. Yeah. Real quick, brother, how you kind of break it up a little bit on this one? How we looking over here in town?
Well, you're coming through a little broken up, but I'm seeing that the internet connection thing is red right now, so that means that the connection's trippy. So I don't know, but we'll try to manage. If anything, I'll move closer to the mic. Maybe that'll help.
Okay.
Right, but yeah, you're coming through. I mean, I can hear you.
Okay. Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I was telling my brother about the boys and about Memphis and that we come to campus, what, 07? 08, we broke the toes and dogma, you know. We started doing study research, and it's amazing that we only just now come back. I mean, I knew about Prophet Edward Drew Ali. You know, I knew a lot of things already before contact this because of my background. My people came from the nation from the time of Elijah but when I was born in 73, after Elijah died and he passed it towards Muhammad, I was born soon, but some more about that's what I was born raised on.
Right.
And we would tell certain truth, never talk too much about mental life.
Right.
But you heard things sometimes.
Yeah.
But just now, we really started researching him. And I said, wow, what he did and what he left is as solid as a rock.
Yeah.
We could have never come up out this thing.
Exactly. And that's what you know, we have to get the people out there who don't know about Noble Drew Ali to recognize.
Yeah.
that this is not just, you know, some you know, he wasn't just trying something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He wasn't just trying something. He actually had the plan for us to be out of this mess.
Yeah.
You know, we just didn't want it.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I had a couple more questions. That was really my main thing. Like I said, so I've been on lately. It's been almost a constant meditation, and I didn't want it to be. Yeah, everybody has a practice.
Most people.
And,
Right?
second, or if that say this, you want to keep expounding, then go ahead, but I'm looking for something to clear.
So, you know what, I got a question about Marcus Garvey about the relationship, because I don't have too much knowledge or insight on that, and I really would like to find information, because I find it strange that, because I didn't even really know that they had much dealing with each other from when Don, when he was locked up.
Yeah.
We always get that, you know, the letters that were being written, you know, had all this significance. But, you know, it just totally struck me as, that's how he got out, and that's what the whole, deal was. Then I find out, anytime I see anybody drink with them, I think, something there is missing, but I don't know what it is, but I just need to find some more information.
Right. Well, what we have to do with regard to Marcus Garvey and Drew Ali is basically put the pieces together, right?
Okay.
The one piece of documentation that's out there that's legitimate is you can it's gonna come up as an image if you search it. It's called there's an article in the Chicago Defender newspaper, right? It's online, and it's called Noble Drew Ali Visits the South. And in that article, it talks about him going to visit Marcus Garvey in Atlanta prison. Right? So what we if we just put common sense into it, right? After you read the article, logically, when Noble Drew Ali got Marcus Garvey out of prison, Marcus Garvey's position was to go back to the UNIA and tell all those people nationalize. Period. Right? That's why he got deported immediately after being released. Right? Because they couldn't have that happen. Right? Now, if you look at in this picture right here, right? That's a picture of UNIA parade, right? UNIA parade and Moorish convention.
Okay.
Right? The pattern is the same.
It's exactly the same.
Right? Noble Drew, right? Marcus Garvey in the middle wearing white. Noble Drew Ali in the middle, right?
Yeah.
Wearing white. Right?
Yeah.
Standing on the steps, right? The sign above the people, the sign above the people.
Yeah.
Right? So like things like this is how we come to the conclusion. By just putting the pieces together. Just like, if you see, Elijah Muhammad in a fez, you have to question, why is this guy wearing a fez for? You know what I mean? Like, how come he's wearing a fez for?
Right.
A fez isn't just, like something that anybody just wears just because, like baseball hat or tam or whatever. Like, it's not that type of headwear. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You have to be on some type of level of degree of knowledge with regard to Moorish science, Moorish history, whatever, to even consider putting a fez on.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And it has to be something that's part of you. You know what I mean? It's not something that you're seeing as secondary. You know? 1 second, sorry. Peace. Peace. Yo, I'm just dealing with something. Could you call me back in about half hour? Alright. Alright. Yeah. Yeah, sorry.
That's fine.
Yeah. Right? So, you know, going into, you know, with the teachings of, and this is how you know that a lot of, well, not even a lot of times, let's just say with Marcus Garvey, right?
Right.
The Universal Negro Improvement Association staying that is because of agents within that,
Okay.
right? Because Garvey wasn't around,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So after he met with Noble Drew Ali, you know, the pattern of UNIA kept going. When that wasn't supposed to, you know, that wasn't supposed to continue going, because, you know, if he met with Noble Drew Ali, which is a documented fact that he met with him, right? He would have got the lesson that you're not Negro.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not Negro, then you need to change the name of your organization from Universal Negro Improvement to something other than Negro,
Right.
because you're not going to get anything under that label as Negro.
Right.
Like, you're not, period. It's nothing even, you know, just like we were talking about earlier, it's not debatable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's nothing to you know, set the tables up and let's, you know, have discourse about whether the name should change. If he met Noble Drew Ali, guaranteed Noble Drew Ali told him, that's probably the first thing, you know, you got to change the name of that organization, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't have any rights as a Negro,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
right? You know?
Yeah.
And these are some of the things that create the disunity that we seem to see that we don't have, right? Or that, right? Like, you know, or the disunity that we have. But if we look at Moors out there, like if we just say, you know, forget who's dirty, who's clean, or whatever, right? If we just say Moorish Americans and we start Googling all these different Moors, right? Whether they're dirty, passive, religious, active, irrelevant, right? Everybody say Noble Drew Ali's the prophet,
Yeah.
which is unity.
Yeah.
Everybody has the same flag, which is unity. Everybody has a nationality card in their pocket that has unity on it, and it has the handshake on it, which is unity. Everybody has a charter, same charter, with the seals on it, given to them by Noble Drew Ali, which is unity. Everybody has fezzes on or turbans on, which is unity. Right?
Right.
So what do you mean that we have no unity? Right? It's like you know, we're caught in this paradox. You know what I mean? We're caught in a paradox and a catch-22 at the same time. You know, because, you know, there's all these things going on, but to the world out there, when they look at the Moors, right, they're not seeing what we're seeing. You know, because everybody has infights. You know, Japanese fight Chinese and all that. Like, it's not no, you know, Pakistanis fight Sri Lankans. Like, there's no, infighting isn't an issue. Everybody has that issue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right? You know, we're the only ones that are looking at it as, oh, we have no unity. And then secondary to that, Sri Lankans, Pakistanis, Indians, Hindus, whoever, all of them know that they're Moors. Collectively. Right? Chinese, Asian, Filipinos, whatever, all of them know that they're Moors. as a collective, right? So that's why we can say that there's unity, because I see our brothers that are called Asians, Chinese, Japanese, or whatever, making progress economically, socially, militarily, you know, in every aspect they're making progress. You know, when we look around here, everything that we have around here is made in China or something.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so is that really, you know, is that takeover, or is that our brothers serving their brothers who won't serve their self? You know, like you know, all the hair shops, the Korean with the hair shop, nail shops and all that. Is that them coming into black communities and taking over? Or is that Moors from the East that know that, you know, based on Mobutu Ali and Buddha and all these people who are prophets, the principles don't change, that the world was one landmass at one time, so the jurisdiction of the Moors is everywhere, and anywhere we go, we're still Moors, right? And anywhere we go and we see people who look like our ancestors, they're our brother and sister. So we have an obligation to serve those people, right? So when they come in and they go and they buy that store, like Brother Taj says, you know, there'll be a store that we've been seeing since we were children that's been abandoned. All of a sudden, it's something, right? And then our people are mad that, well, these people are coming to our community and they're getting a store and now they're taking money from our community or whatever, when they're serving you. You wouldn't have nails and horse hair and all that stuff if it wasn't for these people serving you. But if we don't have a national mindset, we're going to look at it as those people are coming and trying to take something from us, and they're looking at it like, you guys are crazy people, so just give me your money.
Yeah, and they know we don't have a national mindset.
Right?
And they know it.
They know it.
Right next to the salon.
Yep.
They're like, no, we don't want to do, you know, the first man walk in and sell his purses. They don't want him to sell his purses in there.
Right, right. And also, too, remember that they're also looking at it from the perspective of, well, you know, if you wanted fake hair and fake nails, why didn't you open this store and serve yourself? Why didn't you open this convenience store and serve yourself? Well, you know, and then we go into the, you know, every single excuse in the book, how come we couldn't do that?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't see them worrying about, you know, well, you know, is the president Chinese or Sri Lankan so I could come here and start a business? They don't care.
Mm-hmm.
They're not worried about, is the governor their nationality for them to be able to open a store. But we want black mayor. The mayor has to be black so we can make progress. You know, we need a black television so we can. I don't see Asians have no Chinese television network in America.
Mm-hmm.
They might have that in Asia because that's where they're from. They should have that there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no Turkish TV here, but there's Turks here. But they don't care. You know what I mean? Right? You know, and this is the thing about the national perspective and how it's swaying out of our favor because we're pushing it away from ourselves.
Yeah.
And once we push it away from ourselves, from a law perspective, that's called abandonment. And if you choose to go in your pocket and throw down $500 and don't think nobody's gonna come pick it up, and not tell you that, yo, you dropped 500, and then you're gonna blame them when you're the one that went in your pocket and threw down the money, then you're in violation.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's the game that we play, even with you know, Trayvon Martin, right? that we put out the thing, that I put up the post on Facebook today. Instead of marching and picketing, why don't you guys just sue these guys under Title 18, Section 241, 242? Proclaim your nationality. All the people who are marching, right? They're taking the position that, you know, Trayvon's their brother, so they're marching for him. All right, well, if that's your brother, why don't you nationalize, right? Nationalize him. Stop calling him Trayvon. Start calling him Trayvon Martin Bay or L or whatever, right? You guys come together, file a class action lawsuit against Zimmerman, against his defense or whatever, the court, the judge, all the officers that were involved in this conspiracy, right? And sue them under Title 18, Section 241, 242 in federal district court and see if violence stops. Instead of going out there marching and then go home, sleep, and then wake up and go march, and, you know, the time that you're taking going and marching, there's, you know, 8 other people that just got shot by some unarmed, some badgeless guy just walking on the street, you know. Just on the weekend, a teenager out here was shot on a streetcar by so-called police.
Wow.
Right? He had a knife on him. They shot him 9 times or something like that.
That happened less than a few days after Trayvon Martin, the Zimmerman was let go. Brother got shot in the face.
Yeah.
And then the man that shot him, European, said, you know, I just shot him. You know.
Right.
That's it at that.
And the other part of it too is that, you know, it's get used. Products and property gets used. Property doesn't have rights.
Yeah.
So once we're calling ourselves a name that's not a free national name, don't expect any respect from anybody as far as rights are concerned. They don't care. It's nothing personal, but if we want to say, you know, we're cup, glass, bottle, you know, door, floor, mat, carpet, computer or whatever, and not call ourselves human beings, then, you know, don't get mad when you get used.
Yeah.
'Cause that's all that happens to property. It gets used. And human beings can be property if they choose to be that.
Yeah.
And we choose as a people to be that. And we you know, slavery is only illegal if it's involuntary. But voluntary slavery is legal. If you choose to be a slave, that's legal and lawful. And you can't go and you know, make an argument, right? That somebody has me as a slave. You know, slavery's supposed to be over. Right? Slavery's supposed to be over. That's why all the UN declarations say everybody has a right to a nationality. All of them say that. And United States Corporation and Canada Corporation heads signed on to that. Those were the last nations to sign on to that, of all the nations in the world.
You said Canada. Okay.
Right? Both of them signed on to that.
Yeah, the Universal
Declaration. Right?
Yeah.
Right, but everybody's going to say, Barack Obama's not doing nothing for the people. He just gave you your salvation.
Yeah.
He just gave you the key in order for you to save yourself. Go proclaim your nationality. It's international law that you have a right to a nationality. Not domestic law, not local law, not county law or city law or, you know, district law or, you know, this is international. The whole world is waiting and expecting us to, you know, do what we're supposed to do. Which goes back again to, you know, why are they going to say that? Because they recognize Noble Drew Ali, or they wouldn't say that, because Noble Drew Ali is the first one in the Americas to bring the idea of nationality to Negro, black, colored people. Like, he's the first one to do that. Prior to him, you know, it was, you know, Moors wasn't a nationality. That was just who we are.
Yeah.
Everybody just knew we were Moors. Like, it wasn't a secret.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
But Noble Drew Ali was accepted.
No, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
He was accepted global by all nations, right?
Right.
He went to Egypt and he went somewhere else. Where else did he go? But he was accepted and considered
Egypt.
God.
Yeah. He was considered a prophet. Europe, Egypt, Asia, wherever. Anywhere there's somebody recognized as a prophet, he was recognized there as a prophet. Because he came with the same lessons as all the prophets.
Yeah.
Right? And you know, when we say, you know, he was assassinated, right? When we look at the time record compared to all the other so-called leaders, his is the shortest, and he got the most done.
Yeah.
Everybody's track record's longer than Noble Drew Ali.
Yeah.
And everything that they're trying to do, some of their stuff still isn't implemented.
Right. Yeah.
But
That's kind of basic.
yeah. You know what I
I
mean?
was telling my brother that's telling him that never did him. I've been saying, of course, Black history, but I've been saying that for a long time. But you have opposition giving you what to think and feel and believe about certain individuals, and you're not looking at certain things that those individuals said, because you only pay attention to what they tell you to. And, you know, but I look at King, El-Hajj, Shabbat, or everything that they said, and there's people like King saying that, you know, 100 years from now, we can put them down in their own land. I look at the fact that El-Hajj Shabbat said that we didn't go on Plymouth Rock, Plymouth Rock, and on us, and I took us to watch the movie, see they talked about, you know, we're home, and this should be more to know that, you know, I'm aware that I knew those things, but, I mean, it's all there for us, but if we, but I find that most people, they don't want to do their own study and research, they want to listen to other people, it's caught up because people start to think, they don't know who to believe.
Right.
They don't have their own studies to fall back on to say, well, this guy kind of off. You know, this is like, this is what Noble Drew Ali, you know, was teaching, you know, but he got his own thing there.
Right. Well, like, right. So again, too, like, okay, so let's look at it. Let's look at it just like you're saying, right? Well, the people don't have a guideline to use, right?
Right.
If they would, regardless of whether there's dirty Moors running it or whatever, if they would go to the temple, they would get the basic keys that they would need to know that these guys are running a fraud.
Yeah.
With all these debates and stuff going on, right? It's like with, you're gonna go, for example, we look at King Noble, right? King Noble smashes Moorish American or whatever, right? And he did whatever, he defeated Kudrow in a blog talk debate or whatever like that, right? The thing has, I don't know, a good hundreds of views or whatever, right? But nobody's not acknowledging the fact that he was a Grand Sheik. He's not just some black guy pushing black supremacy. He was a grand sheik in a Moorish science temple.
Wow.
And he gave up his position to go push black stuff. Doesn't that mean that he's against the Prophet?
Yeah.
Okay, so if he's against the Prophet, how come all these Moors back him? How come all these Moors putting him on his blog talk show? How come all these Moors posting his stuff because he's talking about Zimmerman or whatever?
And they know who he was against?
They better, if they say that they're Moors, because I know that. You know what I mean?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Right?
Yeah.
Seti, right? Seti's gonna talk all shit about Moors or whatever, right? But he's a follower of Dr. Ben, who has a doctorate in Moorish history from the University of Spain.
Yeah.
Doesn't that mean that he's an agent? If he's gonna if he's gonna have a teacher that studied Moorish history, but then all of his stuff is gonna be against Moors and debating Moors and trying to prove Moors wrong and that we are black people or whatever, doesn't that mean he's an agent and that he's actually against his own teacher?
Yeah. Yeah.
Khalid came out and said that he's a Moor. All those black guys back Khalid, 800%.
Yeah.
How come none of them say that they're Moors?
Yeah.
Khalid came out of his own mouth. It's not speculation.
Yeah. I heard him say it too.
Alright, so if he came out of his mouth and said that I'm a Moor, shouldn't every single person who knows Khalid Muhammad or respect Khalid Muhammad or honor Khalid Muhammad or be a member of the new Black Panther Party, old Black Panther Party or whatever, say that they're a Moor too if they back him?
Yeah.
But what are they doing? They're not doing that. They want to uphold a lawyer who's an officer of the court as their head. And an officer of a court is a spy or an agent. And they want to put out bounties for Zimmerman and all this type of stuff. Right? So you're going to put out a bounty for Zimmerman. The bounty falls through. And then people still backing them? Doesn't that mean that they're running a fraud? If the U.S. Marshal puts a bounty on somebody's head, right? Dead or alive or whatever. What happens when that bounty doesn't get fulfilled or whatever? They lose their job, huh?
Yeah.
You can't put no bounty on nobody's head and the bounty not come in. Or they do like Asada, and they just have the bounty out there forever. And either eventually somebody's gonna bring her in, or at least it's gonna be out there forever that she's a criminal and she killed police officers and we need to get her or whatever. But they can't go into Cuba to go get her because Cuba is a nation, a republic that doesn't have any allegiance to the corporate jurisdiction of the U.S.
Yeah.
But the whole world doesn't want to have anything to do with the U.S. That's why nobody's gone to get Asada out of Cuba who has relations with Cuba. Like they can easily call, whoever, Bosnia. The people in Cuba. We want you to go in there and go get her. Because she killed our, people there. Right?
Right.
So you guys go get her. Here's the bounty money. And then Bosnia will go in and go get her. It's not no big deal. But the whole world is against the U.S. And our people don't want to see that and recognize that. The whole world knows that they're a private corporation and they're bankrupt. And all their offices are dissolved. And the whole world is waiting for the so-called Negro, black, colored people in the Americas to wake up, proclaim their nationality like the international community says that you have a right to do. It's not a privilege, or it's not, like you have a right to proclaim your nationality. So that they can start doing business with the sovereigns again.
Yeah.
Because everybody everywhere else in the world, they're fighting bailout packages and stuff like that. They're not taking no bailout packages. They'll say we'll suffer before we take bailout package. But what are we doing here? We're gonna march and picket, right? And beg this private corporation to accept us as black people when we're Moors, and we don't need to beg for anything. Everything here is ours, right? All we have to do is make a claim, just like they're making a claim. You know what I mean? Like they've been running the fraud for so long that they've blinded us. Because they know what's up. They know that they're a private corporation. You know, every 4 years they bring a president up. Presidents are heads of corporations. The president is not no head of no government nowhere in the world. Everywhere else has prime minister in the world. You know what I
I think about that. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And if they do have a president, they're saying that they're a president of a republic.
Yeah. Right.
They're not saying they're president of a democracy.
Right.
Yeah. Right?
I got a question, Brother Paul, about government. Because by my understanding, our government and this government are joined or intertwined,
Right.
together with, it's represented on the money for the seal, right?
Right?
Because with some more, I think if the ideal notion that we're completely apart and to extract oneself from out of the system or whatever. Start our own government.
Right. You don't need to start your own government, right?
Right.
Okay? So this is them, and then this is us. Right?
Right.
And in the middle, it says one.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? In the middle, it says one. Right? Now, if we do like this, right? This is now the head, and then this is the tail. This is now the obverse, and then this is the reverse. Right? Who's superior? The obverse or the reverse? Which is worth more on the body, the head or the tail?
Because the head are
All right. Right? So how can we make a claim that, for example, we make a claim that, you know, the tail, if we put it in this context, right? The tail has the authority to do whatever because they cut the head off. Right? When the tail can't exist without the head.
Right.
Right? This is dead. Without this. Right? Right now this is dead. That's why it's dissolved. Right? That's why nobody in the world wants to deal with these people. And that's why these people never ever uphold this, because they're not this. They can't be this. The only people that can be this are the ones who represent the 7 in the circle.
Oh, wow. I never saw that.
The 7 in the circle is us.
Wow.
Everybody knows this. And this is why they can't take this out of circulation.
Okay.
But they can take everything else out of circulation and make all these other types of bills and do, but they can't do anything to this.
That's the one that never changed.
It never, ever change. They can't change.
Right.
They can't do anything to this because this is what sanctions them. Right? You know, and then when we you know, when we look at it as, you know, like, okay, like if we look at this side, right? There's 1 1 1 1, right? And then the 1 in the northeast corner, right? The one in the northeast corner is a shield, not a circle.
Yeah.
While all these ones are circles.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. The shield represents the Moors.
Okay.
Right? Just like when you go to Europe and you look at the crest and the Pope and all these people, they got shields of heraldry, which is directly related to Moors. Right? But now if we superimpose this shield, right, on the other side of the bill, it's going to be on this side. Right?
Okay.
And then if it's on the flip side, now it's in the northwest corner, which is the North Gate,
Okay.
which is the Moroccan Empire,
Right.
which is this shield, which is this seal right here,
Yeah.
right? Which has nothing to do with Kemet. Why is there a pyramid of Kemet in America?
Pyramids here.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right? And you never see Illuminati come out and say that this is their symbol or seal. Never, ever has Illuminati come out and say this is ours. But Alex Jones and all these people are going to try to convince us to abandon our birthright because this is Illuminati stuff. And then everybody in the Illuminati is going to tell you that they have a fez that was handed down to them. They don't know where it came from, but it was handed down to them because it's the most distinguished headwear in the planet. Right?
Yeah.
You know? And they know all this. This is not, you know what I mean? Even same thing. You know, we have the seal right here, right? And then when we superimpose this on this side of the bill, now you have the Department of the Treasury, right? And then it has a square on there, right? The square which represents the Moors, because Moors just stand on your square, right? And then it has the keys on it, which represents the knowledge. Because you know the Moors are the ones who gave knowledge to the world in the pyramid schools, right? And then it has the scales on there, which means ma'at, or justice. And then love, truth, peace, freedom, justice is one of our 5 principles. Right? So they'll tell us like everything. You know? They'll tell us everything. Right? Our government. Like, we don't have to go form anything. All we have to do is just claim this.
Yeah, we do.
You know? I mean, we could form something, but, you know, why recreate the wheel? When this is sitting there stagnant and there's no official, so-called official, in the U.S or the U.S.A that ever speaks under this. Ever. They never talk under this. You never see some official of the United States of America standing in front of this seal They always stand in front of the ego. Whether they're Asiatic, European, doesn't matter. They always talk under this. And if these are one, right? If these two represent one, why are they only standing under one?
Yeah, they never stand in the other, right?
Right?
Right.
You know? So now on this one at the bottom it says Novos Ordo Seclorum. Right? New order of ages. So if the new order of ages is on the pyramid, not the democracy, right? Doesn't that mean that the new world order is really ours, not these Europeans call themselves Illuminati?
Right.
And if the new world order is ours, what are we afraid of?
Right. Everybody's led to believe there's something in there.
Right, and the new world order is really the old world order called the new world order.
Right.
And there's no such thing as a new world order because it's the old world order. There's no such thing as a British Empire because the British Empire is the Moorish Empire. There's no such thing as United States of America because it's really the United States of Morocco. That's why George Washington chopped down the cherry tree. Because they had to get Morocco out of the way before they can establish their takeover.
Yeah, the country, but the plan on what how was that with that work?
Yeah, the cherry tree. The cherry tree was and is the Moorish flag. Right? See if I find something quick fast here. Right, just you can just go to rvbay.com, RVBay Publications, right, and you'll find it there, right? Because I really can't remember which book it's in right now,
Okay.
right? But that's the idea, you know. That's the idea.
Him proclaiming that he could not tell a lie.
Right. He could not tell a lie. Right? But, you know, but other people could tell a lie for him.
Okay.
That he's the first president when he was really the 9th president, and you know that you know he was the supreme authority when he was appointed the head. He wasn't elected to be the head. He was appointed. You know, his position is based on appointment. Right? And you know, again too, like if it's like when we were talking with a brother at the temple yesterday, you know, and he was talking about, you know, how come, you know, you can't get the real truth about the Moors, and you know, the truth about the Moors is so scattered, and you know, it's coming from all these different sources or whatever, because you know, you're not asking them more. If you want to know about carpentry, you ask a carpenter. If you want to know about dentistry, you ask a dentist. But if you want to know about Moors, they're gonna ask Seti, King Noble, you know. They're gonna ask all these weirdos who don't have any type of allegiance to Moors. And if they do have allegiance to Moors, it's the 711 AD to 1492 Moors, and that's it. When you go to the Filipinos, they call themselves Moors there. That has nothing to do with Spain. And if you go to Asia, right? They have to do with Moors there, Sri Lankans and all that. You know, they have a Mauryan dynasty. You know, that's in the Vedas text. They have chapters on the Mauryan dynasty.
Yeah.
Right?
What about Malaysia?
Yeah, all there. All there.
Okay.
All that is Moors.
Okay.
Right? You know what, and you know, the key to keep in mind is that by European psychology and definition, a Moor is any dark-skinned person, especially an African Negro. That's a Moor. Moor doesn't mean black. Moor doesn't mean, you know, the people of Spain or the Berbers or the whatever. Moor is any dark-skinned person. So anywhere that we go on the planet and we see somebody that's dark-skinned, they're a Moor. That's just what it is. It's not, you know, again, it's not debatable.
Right.
People could debate it if they want to, right? But they're only doing their self disservice, because your recognition of yourself as a Moor is physical but also spiritual. And you go against the ancestors talking all that black whatever. That's why black people are in the worst position. Because it's spiritual, because the ancestors are kicking your ass. Through people, through human beings. It's not those people. Majority of Europeans, they're not down with putting people on trees and all that, lynch people and cut people, you know, stomp people's babies and all that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah, they might have a beastly nature, but that's not their, you know, mentality if you're a national. You know? And I know, because I deal with them. Work with Europeans all the time. And Europeans don't stop telling me about the Moors. They're surprised that I know. Very surprised that I know. Because, you know, I look like average black guy. Oh, no, I'm not black, I'm a Moor. Oh, you're a Moor. You mean the Moors from whatever? You know what I mean? The Moors that whatever. You mean the Moors, you know, my dad, whatever, my great-granddad had a picture with the Moor, my whatever. They just, you know, they just open the floodgates on you when you let them know that you're a Moor. And I'm saying, like, from the top level, judges, you know, public servants, whatever, to, you know, bums sitting on the street, lady sitting smoking cigarettes on the corner. Everybody knows about Moorish history. You know? Everybody knows.
Yeah.
And you know, with the, you know, with the government thing, like, you know, why is there's no Moorish government per se. You know, we're it. Right? You being in the territory where you're at, and you go around and talk to some people and they, oh yeah, you know, I've been studying this thing, whatever, and then you have, you know, a group of people, 5 people, 10 people, 50 people, whatever. That's your government right there. Domestic, local government. And then you take all your people, you have your little meetings, you don't even have to put together any paperwork or nothing. You can go on rvbaypublications.com and use the paperwork that they already sent out to the world as your paperwork. You don't even have to create your own paperwork. Right? And then you take that and you put them on notice about your claim, your position. Right? And, you know, we're moving in the direction of what other active Moors are doing to show unity. You know? Because remember, we're the only ones that are looking at it like there's an infight amongst the Moors. Right? The world isn't looking at it like that. When the world looks at, you know, like let's say let's say some body from some other nation, you know, could eliminate everybody else's page on Facebook and just have the Moors Facebook's pages come up, right? And they go on there and they're going through and they're listening, watching dialogue between Moors or whatever, right? They know what the history is. So as soon as somebody says something that's out of order, their position's omitted. They're not even considered no more. Like your position is mute. Right? That's what I was saying, that's why, you know, I talk how I talk. Because there's nobody trying to convince me about what I know. You can't convince me of what I know. Right? Because I know that already. You know? Tell me something I don't know. And if you're not telling me something that I don't know, then there's nothing for me to talk to you about, because I know what you know. You know? And
it's not,
right?
And you were saying, because we can discuss about, you know, putting the people on notice and things like that. And I know that there are several places you have to put on notice. I just don't know what those places are. Yeah.
Let's just say that everybody.
Everybody I can think of.
Whoever comes to mind that, you know, you say, you know, maybe they should know about, you know, my status.
Okay.
Put them on notice.
Okay, I was wondering that. I didn't know it was like, all right, there's places that you put on notice, or could I just let everybody know?
Yeah. You know, when you know, think about it in their eyes, right? Think about what they do when they have to for example, dig a trench on 15th and 8th Street, right? They're gonna put an ad in the paper, and then the top of the ad is gonna say public notice.
Yeah.
Who's that for? Few people?
Everybody.
All right. Regardless whether you live in that area where they're building the trench or not.
Okay.
They're putting people on notice.
Okay.
Right? You know, and you putting them on notice, if you check out the Fonteas lectures that we put up, right, with Fonteas and Anaida, right? You putting them on notice is it could be done through mail, it could be done through fax, it could be done through email, it could be done through making a YouTube post, you know what I mean, and putting that up, right? No?
Now, when you mail something, is there a certain way you're supposed to stamp and address?
The best way, from our understanding, is you always spell out the street. So like street, avenue, you know, crescent, whatever. Don't put the abbreviated version. Always spell it out, right? Always put the city without city. So say county, right? Territory, right? When you're talking about the city jurisdiction. When you're talking about the state, put republic, right? So Delaware Republic, California Republic, New York Republic, New Jersey Republic, etc. Right? Start learning to use Google Earth and get the longitude, latitude of the area where you're at. So your where you live, the point where you live has a longitude and latitude, I don't know what you call it, direction or whatever. You know, latitude whatever degrees, longitude whatever degrees. Put that in there. Right? Put the postal code or the zip code in brackets. Square brackets. Right? Now if you're using now when you're mailing to people, like let's say you're putting them on notice, right? You're gonna do the same thing with their addresses. Because you're bringing them into your jurisdiction by doing that. Right? Because our jurisdiction is superior. Like our jurisdiction is bigger than their corporate jurisdiction. Right? So they're technically in our jurisdiction when we engage them. And then obviously, you know, for yourself, you're going to put, you know, LB or whatever, you know, on for your name. Right?
I know I have spoken before about
Having to know to do it
Say that again?
in any capacity, and I just took you the first time we talked on the phone, just having to know to do it fiat.
Yeah.
Do that. And I know that it's free. However, I know I didn't know everything or every place I would need to mail to.
Yeah. I mean, you know, it's
the paperwork.
yeah, it's I know it's a financial issue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, you know, like we're saying everybody, but you know, like if it comes down to who are the most important people, I guess if you will, it'll be that U.S jurisdiction people. You know, it'll be the U.S jurisdiction people. Right? President, governor, secretary of state, mayor, chief of police or whatever, sheriff, provost marshal, and whoever else that claims some type of important role or position in the democracy. Right, because the main reason for doing this is to show that you are capable of handling your own affairs and you don't need them. Because they've been our master for so long, right? That we have to prove ourselves worthy of being master. And then these are some of the ways that we prove ourselves. That when they open that thing and they read that writ, you know, they already know what's up. You know? When they open that thing and they see you know, your flag on your document, they already know what's up. You know? And putting them on notice is you know, something that just has to be done so they know what our position is, right? Putting them on notice is something that has to be done so that they can default, right? And then when they default, then we give them a default judgment, which proves that they're in error and that we actually have the lawful claim that we claimed that they didn't reply to, because what's supposed to happen is they're supposed to reply. Like we're supposed to send them our paperwork and they're supposed to reply and say, oh, okay, well, I received your paperwork, okay, I recognize that you are, you know, free now and you're not a slave anymore, So here's all your stuff back, and here's all the checks that you gave us for whatever, and and then, you know, case closed. And they go about their business to go deal with niggers, and we continue doing what we do. You know, but because they've gotten so comfortable, because of all the black leaders who sold out, right, got bought out, whatever, you know, they've become comfortable in their master position when they're really the servant. And they were never ever supposed to take that role of master or act like it or pretend that they're something that they're not. This is why they took out people like Kennedy and Lincoln and all these people, because they were actually giving it back to the people. They were giving the people back the authority to be the government. And the ones who were milking the Moorish Empire or the Moorish estate, you know, they were not going back to Europe. But if they go back to Europe, you know, they're facing tar and feather and all that stuff. Because remember, they left Europe because they were pissed off at their king, because he was unjust. You know, they came here to escape persecution from their own head over there. You know, and we only let them come here because you know we created you, so you know, come on over. You know, we'll accommodate you for a little bit. But they were only supposed to stay on the eastern seaboard. They weren't supposed to make it inland, be in California and all that. You know how far that is from the 13 colonies? When you talk about San Francisco, that's the whole other side of the thing. How'd they get all the way over there? You know? But that's how you know, quote unquote pilgrims or wanderers, that's how they do. You know? Peace.
Peace, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
I don't know what happened. We were commenting and couldn't hear.
For real. Yeah, it's probably them, you know, it's their stuff, so you know.
Yeah.
most times it's not service, you know, it's COINTELPRO and CIA, FBI and them people.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, cause so were you hearing everything that I was saying?
Yeah.
Okay,
I was
all right,
comment that I once heard Anaïs say, this is standing on the law that, you know, our ancestors knew, you know, just their history in writing the Constitution, which gave them very limited jurisdiction.
Right.
Because they're running.
Exactly.
But through their history that they didn't know when they needed, you know, when to keep up.
Right.
You know.
You know? So once we take our throne back, you know, once we take our throne back, which is, you know, our throne is our nationality, right? Once we take that back, then, you know, we don't need them anymore.
Right.
You know, and they can continue to be plantation for slaves. This is like when we look at the slave movies, right? And they always have in the background the free people walking around, not in shackles and not with a slave master or nothing like that, and nobody questions, yo, who are those guys back there?
Yeah.
How come those guys aren't in shackles?
Yeah.
You know, and then they would say that, you know, oh, that's the sellout nigger. You know, that's why he's not in slaves or whatever. No, that was the free guy.
Yeah.
You know, just like in Django.
Yeah.
Right? When they were sitting by the window, right, before they went into the place to go look for where Hilda's plantation was.
Yeah.
You know, and they're riding on the horse and through the city or whatever, and then they got people with the yoke on their neck and whatever, And then right next to that guy, there's a free slave walking, and then right next to that guy, there's a guy with a top hat on and whatever was a brother. And everybody dismisses the brother with the top hat as, oh yeah, he must work for slave master or whatever. No, that was a free guy. He didn't work for no slave master.
Yeah.
He was, those are the Moors.
Yeah.
You know, the black inventors. How come black inventors didn't get lynched and all that stuff? Because those were the Moors. Those were the scientists.
Yeah.
The astrologers, the astronomers, the cosmologists, the architects, the blacksmiths and all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's why they never got touched. You know, Black Wall Street, why they bombed that? You know, because that was the Moors reclaiming everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the Black Wall Street came out of the Trail of Tears. Black Wall Street wasn't some black people that came out of slavery and they founded their own community. Yeah, right. But since when if slaves gonna found their own community, how come they didn't do that? Like, how come that wasn't done? How come they didn't? If slaves could found their own communities like Black Wall Street, why are they on a plantation picking cotton? Why didn't they just walk off the plantation and go found their own community? Right? You know? I mean, you know, why the slaves, you know, if they were slaves, how'd they know to follow the North Star to get out of slavery and come to Canada? If you're a slave and you know master took all your language, took all your culture or whatever, what do you know about North Stars and traveling in North Stars and all that? You know, even that they showed you in Django. Where the German, right in the beginning, the German straight told the guy, well, you know what, you can go and, you know, take that guy to the hospital or whatever, or you could take this shotgun, blow his freaking brains out, and follow the North Star if you're astronomical or whatever like that. And they were like, yeah, for real, you know, but he took the gun, blew this guy's brain out, and then these guys follow the North Star and go back home. Right? You know? Know what I mean? So it's all around us. Everything's there. You know? Like everything's there, you know, just like we were saying. You know, they do it all the time. You just walking down the street and you just see something on a wall. Public notice, you know, this is to inform you that blah 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 blah. Like what are they they're telling you something.
Yeah.
They're not telling you what's on that paper. Their process is showing you that anybody can do that. And everybody does that. When you want to make something public record, you put them on notice. And that's all we have to do. And once they're put on notice, then it's the law. You know? And that's how they got their power. Put us on notice. Well, you know, the Indians, whatever, and nobody ever, you know, challenged the Indian stuff. Nobody ever challenged slave. You know, well, hold on a second. You know, I don't think that, you know, you should call us slaves because, you know, slave comes from Slav and Slav's European, which is you. So how are you going to tell me that I'm the slave when you're the European?
Right.
You know? How are we going to say, you know, Barack Obama's a fraud and he works for Illuminati when he signed the declarations that Bush and all those guys didn't sign, refused to sign, that they'll kill themselves before they sign these international documents? You know what I mean? And he signed them. Which means he went against the policy of the Illuminati, so-called Illuminati, by signing those documents. You know? And then that's why, you know, when you check the, when, you know, and it's crazy how people just miss stuff, right? How they go around and they keep calling him Muslim every time they go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then people are fighting for him, oh, where's his birth certificate and all that type of stuff.
Right.
Why would he have a birth certificate? He's not no U.S. slave.
Hello?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Why would he have a birth certificate? You know? And then when he makes up a fake one, everybody's mad, oh, that's not real, that's fake. Well, everybody's is fake. Everybody's birth certificate's fake.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right?
So,
You know?
this, he made a statement before I think that's what you told me. Statement he made on Tom Jordan when Tom Jordan said,
right.
we're so happy to have a black president. He came on the radio show. Barack Obama said, Tom, but he said, black has no standing at all.
He said, he told Tom Jordan, please don't call me that. You know, he did it respectfully. He said, you know, please don't call me that because it has no standing in law. That's what Obama told Tom Jordan on the show.
Right? And why and how come he said
National radio.
and how come he said that? Not because, you know, he's against black or whatever, but because he's a constitutional lawyer.
Exactly. Yeah.
And he knows.
And he knows.
Mm-hmm.
And Noble Drew Ali prophesied that if the European be just, they have an Asiatic president and a European vice president.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he said that in 1913. And then that prophecy actually manifested.
Yeah.
So if Noble Drew Ali's prophecy manifested, doesn't that mean that he's a prophet?
Yes.
And that we should be chasing after this man at the loss of our own life to make sure that we understand what he brought, because he is a real prophet. He's not some false prophet fiction. He's a real legitimate prophet. His prophecy from 1913 came through. Many of his prophecies came true. Many.
I was going to say, just the other day I read in the newspaper, on the Canaanland news station, someone ran over an alligator in the street, prophesied by the wild animals walking around in the street.
Right. Right? Exactly.
Oh.
Exactly. Right? And that prophecy has probably been fulfilled, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Right? Right?
Yeah.
And continues to be fulfilled.
Yeah.
Because we got foxes and stuff around here running around.
You're right about
You got eagles and stuff flying around with pigeons and stuff like that. Like that's not
right.
something that you see. Eagles aren't supposed to be around here on buildings eating pigeons.
Wow. Not at all.
You know what I mean? Right? But it's the prophecy manifested. You know what I mean? That we gotta take heed to this man's, divine position. You know what I mean? Because that brother right there, people don't even know. If I told you, like you said, if I told you everything, you go back to sleep. I'll tell you some things, turn your brain to water and all that type of stuff. So, he came, he did what he was supposed to do, and, he got out of here. Because he did what he was supposed to do. And we were supposed to figure out the rest. That's why he made the books, right? He made the books small.
Yeah.
Right? So you don't even have to do too much.
Mm-hmm.
Right? 4 pages or whatever. This is the most potent, 5-6 pages, ever put to paper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, people think that they need, people think they need, books like this to be free or whatever. You don't need no book like that to be free. That's nothing. Big things come in small packages, as they say.
right, but absolutely amazing. So much in there was already within me. So I read it and it was like wow. But within everything in there, it wasn't like the Quran or the Bible where it's similar. You're not realistically going to deal with them because you might need two pages or you might skip here or skip there.
Right.
But like what it's there and such, small, book, I mean, it's always been on my mind, man.
Yeah.
Since we found out we were Moors and become Moors, man, it's really been good, man. Despite anything else that's going on, you know what I mean? Because we've been working to this point since '07.
Right.
Okay. And we've been working to this point. I'm like, wow, this is it right here. It started the rock is, to me, obviously the most evident a true prophet.
Right.
It just always profound and blow my mind how this thing is it's just out of the rock, man, it's their time. I mean, it's all we need.
Yep. All we need. We don't need anything else or anybody else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He brought everything that we need in order to be free. Everything that we need. We don't need anything from anybody else. You know what I mean? And the foundation of what he brought us is the foundation that everybody else has that's allowing them to be successful and recognized and everybody has it. Everybody has it. Same pattern. Everybody has a flag. Everybody has a national headwear, religion, creed, or whatever. Everybody has, a holy book that they hold up. Everybody has, a certain attire that they wear when it's time for them to go take care of business or whatever. You know what I mean? And they're acknowledged in that position. So why should it be any different for us when everybody knows we've been here the longest? Here meaning, the planet.
Right.
Everybody knows that we're it.
Yep, we're there.
You know what I'm saying? And it's not, it's hard for our people, because so much has gone into distracting us from the prophet. Everything that's done, is to distract us from the prophet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's hardly any books out there other than Noble Drew Ali's book that mentions Noble Drew Ali. It's like there's the picture, the convention picture when he's in the middle and then there's politicians around him and all that, right? And everybody knows who Oscar the Priest is. Right? Everybody knows him as the first black congressman of Chicago. And he's sitting next to the prophet. And they don't know who the prophet is, and they know Oscar the Priest. And you punch in Oscar the Priest and there'll be pages and pages and pages from all different people, black people that say, yeah, he's the first black, we have to respect the first black congressman, whatever. He's sitting next to Noble Drew Ali in the picture. You know what I mean? Which means that as a congressman, he backed Noble Drew Ali. He wasn't just a dude in the picture. You know what I mean?